Anne from Game Like a Mother. I specialize in games that can be played in 20 minutes or less, and these are my top 10 New Year's resolutions themed games, mostly because I was playing a lot of new games around the holidays, and I thought, oh, these are all kind of self-improvement themed, so we're going that for a list. It is a great time to make resolutions around the new year to live a healthier lifestyle, unless you're the type of person that wants to do a polar bear swim. That is excessive, and I do not support or endorse that kind of behavior too much. I have all the games listed in the description of the video, along with a timestamp if you want to skip to a particular one. And I also have included links to any of the how to play videos I've created for any of these games as well. So let's get started. First up, we have Downtown Farmers Market. Resolution, eat right. In this game, everyone makes their own grid. They have 4 goals across the top that they get to pick, and 4 goals along the side that they get to pick. They're double-sided tiles, so you get to pick which side you want to use. And over the course of the game, people are taking turns drafting tiles with things like carrots and bread, milk, corn, and a couple other items. And you're trying to fill in your grid according to the goals you have set out. So in one row, you might want to have exactly 6 items in it. In another row, you might need to have more carrots than any other item in that row, or you score per carrot in another row. And it's tricky to make it work where your columns will score, but also that the rows are happening as well, and they're unique to each player. So I love this game because it's so easy to learn. It's so fun to play. We got this out on Christmas, and my husband and I played it, and it was so quick to figure out how to play, but engaging and interesting, and we just wanted to play it over and over again. My parents came over later, and this is the game we wanted to play with them. They enjoyed it a lot. They took it home so they could play it on their own. And this is very similar to the game Point Salad, which is very popular. It's a good game. It's a huge pain to set up Point Salad. I like the game, but I don't get it out that often just because you have to, the process of setting up, you have to shuffle all of the cards, take out the type that you need, the right player count, depending on the number of people you have playing. So it's a bit of a process to set up. This is all of the fun of that, but without the process. You just deal out some tiles, goal tiles to everybody, and that's it. I'd say this is more geared for adults than kids, just because of the theme, but kids can hang out in there if they, it's simple enough to figure out the basics of the game and kids can play it. So this is a whole family game. This was a jackpot for us this last Christmas and we love it. Next up, we have Wilson and Shep, because we got a puppy this Christmas, and our resolution is probably to care for and help train the puppy. And Wilson and Shep is a game in which there is a dog that is trying to find the wolf that is hiding amongst the sheep. And the game makes it very clear that the wolf is just doing cute hijinks and not actually eating any of the sheep. And so what you do is you take turns hiding the wolf, and then you move the sheepdog around and try to find it. And you get to, the person who's hidden the wolf gets to switch tiles around. And my son, when I played this with my older son, he kept on switching tiles and led me on a chase because he kept on moving a specific tile further and further away from me. So I chased after it until I got it, and it wasn't the wolf. And he was so proud of himself that he had led me on a chase. So there's some light bluffing. It's a lot of fun. It's really sweet. Just kind of like puppies. So wish us luck. She's very cute, and she will play lots of board games with us, she promised. Also, shout out to Blue Orange for sending us those 2 games to try. They're one of my favorite board game publishers, and it has been so much fun testing out some of their newer offerings. Next up, we have Sleeping Queens 2, The Rescue. This is the follow-up to Sleeping Queens, but in this one, the queens are in charge, so I'm calling the resolution for this one, Fight the Patriarchy. Or, I guess they're helping the kings who are in peril, so it's a teamwork and cooperation and friendship-themed game. Pick the resolution that works for you. Uh, in this one, the queens use math. They use cards to get companions, and that allows them to rescue the kings from various states of peril. And similar to the original game, there are different specialty cards, like there's a Switch Witch where you get to trade cards, Sleeping Willow that puts the queens to sleep, night cards with special abilities that move around the board depending on dice rolls. So it is a blast to play. We played this a bunch on Christmas with my kids, with grandparents. It's been one of our most played games since we've gotten it with kids. And basically, if you have Sleeping Queens, you should run out and get this one because for sure your kids will like this. But first, get Sleeping Queens. I would still start with Sleeping Queens. This doesn't replace the original, but if you really like it, and you will because it's fantastic, then this one is so great and so much fun to play. Next up, we have the Key games. There are 3 different versions of it, and we own all 3 now. There's Sabotage at Lucky Llama Land, Theft at Cliff Rock Villa, and Murder at the Oakdale Club. And the theme, your resolution for these games is to be like a junior crime fighter, to solve crime. We'll say that's what you are doing this year. But the game is kind of like advanced Clue. It is so fun. It's the same kind of solving a whodunit, but there's quite a bit going on. You have a bunch of clues out in the middle, and it's color-coded for whichever case you're going for, and they have different numbers on the back of them. If it's a really good clue, it will have like a 4 on it, and if it's just a little bit of information, it'll be a 1 on the back. And there's different signs that tell you what type of clue you are going for, and we played the Sabotage at Lucky Llama Land the most, and at least in that version, everyone is guilty. All of the 3 characters are guilty. You're just trying to figure out which person committed their crime on which day, with which item, at which location. So there's a bit you're sorting out, but the clues are so fun. You have footprints that you have to match up to a mirror and see if they match what you have in your case file. There are ticket stubs that you need to match up to figure out which day a particular person was at the theme park for Lucky Llama Land. And so there's a bit that you are piecing together. They have information about like the height or the age of the criminal. So that helps you narrow down things. So there's quite a bit going on. On that note, there is a learning curve for this game. Your first time, you need to take it slow and kind of figure everything out. And then after that, you can settle in more and try to figure things out. In theory, it's a speed game, but we've been very gentle on that with the kids because it's a lot. It says 8 and up on the box, I believe, and the graphics make it seem like it's more geared for kids, but I would play this with adults. It is fully interesting enough, and there's enough going on, and it doesn't feel too kiddie like that you couldn't play it for an adult game night, because there's quite a bit going on, but it is so interesting, and it is so unique, and to have kids love whodunits, adults love whodunits, and it's just really well put together, and we keep on playing it on repeat, and now we have 2 different versions since Christmas, so fantastic set. We're really excited about it. Next up, we have Dice Throne. Resolution, defeat your enemies. Am I taking this resolution list seriously at this point, or am I just trying to find excuses to talk about my favorite games? I mean, whatever works, but I love Dice Throne. It's one of my favorite games. And essentially, it's Battle Yahtzee, but you have a bunch of different characters that you can choose from that all have their own powers and abilities that are just particular to that character, and you can match up anyone with anybody else, duke it out, and see who's left at the end, and it is so much fun. My favorite character is Loki, the trickster, because he is some happy chaos, and it's just so fun whenever I play with him. So basically, The game, the first time you read through the rules, it can seem a little bit dense, but the game itself is not that tricky. There are special powers for each character, but then you use their powers. There are some cards that you play with special abilities that can impact your dice rolls and things like that. And then you just roll dice and try to roll like good Yahtzee type rolls, like large straights, small straights. If you can roll a lot of sixes, you're just going to do really well at that game because you get really high powered attacks from that. And then once you or your opponent's health has been reduced to 0, you have a winner, and that's it. But it's simple to get it going, but there's enough going on that it's interesting and fun each time, and you can match up any character from any of the sets from any other character. When I first heard about it, I wasn't really sure. They've got a season 1 re-rolled, season 2, so I wasn't sure where I was supposed to start. You pick whatever characters you like, and they're all able to be played against each other. So we have the Marvel sets. US Awfully sent those to me to try out, and I love them. But there's also, like in the season 1, they have characters like the Barbarian, the Moon Elf, Pyromancer, Monk, Paladin, and Shadow Thief. So just pick what sounds fun to you. They all have interesting and unique powers, and dominate the world as you do. Next up, we have the Shakespeare Game if you are on a quest for culture in the new year. The goal of the game is to either be the first to pay £70 and put on a grand performance at the Globe of 7 cards from the same Shakespeare play, or if you are just ridiculously wealthy and have £120 at the end of the game, you're collecting performance cards, you're getting to play out fortune cards over the course of the game that give you like special abilities and powers, and you can kind of mess with other players. But I love the game because you will enjoy it if you already know a lot about Shakespeare, and you will enjoy it if you kind of remember some stuff from high school and that's about all you know. You still will do well and succeed at this game and have a very good time. They have all the information that you need in the little booklet. So they have information, synopses of the different plays, information about the different themes and characters. And so it's really fun. It's a fun way to get some culture. So a friend of mine who is a former librarian recommended this game to me. And I mean, if a librarian recommends something, you run out and try it out, obviously. And I had such a fun time on Christmas. My husband and I played this together in the evening, and it was so lovely. I was a literature and economics major in college. So, I mean, I studied some Shakespeare back in the day, but I'm a little rusty on it. And my husband, an engineer, had last done anything involving Shakespeare back in high school. But we both had a really good time together. It felt like we were learning and remembering particulars about some of the plays that weren't as fresh for us. So it's just, if you're on a quest for culture, this is an excellent way to do it because it's a game and it's fun and it works. So I loved it and I would highly recommend checking it out. Next up, we have Bandido. Resolution: don't go to jail, or maybe there's a lot of tunneling in this game, so fitness, you're shoveling, I don't know, pick the resolution that works for you. We have been playing this game a lot around the holidays, which is why it's on this list. The goal of the game is it's a cooperative game, and there's little Bandido in his jail cell, and you're taking turns flipping out cards that are tunnels, and you're trying to cut off all of his exits so he can't escape. And this game we've had for a couple years, and it just keeps on getting gameplay. It's one of those ones that the kids ask for on a semi-regular basis. All suggested as a game to play with them. We took it on trips around the holidays and played it with extended families, some that play a lot of games, some that don't play as many games. Everyone really enjoyed it. And it's one of those ones that is so simple to teach. You just start flipping out cards. It's very clear what you're trying to do. But there's a bit of strategy to actually be able to close off all of the tunnels. And there's a little bit of luck too. Sometimes you do everything right and it just doesn't work out. So it's just like the right level of challenge. It is perfect. There's a newer version of this called Bandida, and they added a few elements, and I feel that it has ruined the elegant simplicity of the original of Bandido. So between the two, I would absolutely get Bandido. That's the one. We have both, and we just end up playing Bandido all of the time. So this is deserving of a spot on the list just because we've been playing it a lot lately, and I thought the resolution would be funny to get to share. So, but I would absolutely check this out. This has been a family staple for us. Next up, we have Blossoms. Resolution, grow some things. I've managed to kill every succulent I've tried to grow. So maybe you'll have better luck than me in the new year. All of my succulents are artificial now because that's what works for me. I am so thrilled that this game is back in print. It was not available. You couldn't find it anywhere for a while, and now it's back. And it's such a nice push your luck game. The goal is to create the most beautiful flower bouquet. The longer and more diverse the flowers, the higher the score. So it's very simple. You have 4 different flower pots out. It's a 2-player game, and you're flipping out cards onto the flowers, and as long as it matches any of the flowers going that are out there, you get to keep on going. And the more flowers you have of the same type stacked up, the higher your score is. So man, you just want to keep on getting to flip them out. But if you flip out a card that doesn't match any of them, then oops, you go busted. Then you're not going to get any points for the flowers that are out there. So the basics, very simple. There's a few specialty powers that you have. You can have a watering pot, which allows you to add a flower from your hand to the bottom of a stack, which really helps for a high score. There's a fence where you get to ignore bad luck. You end up using that power every single game because you need to. There's a rake. You get to peek at the top of the deck and see the top 3 cards. And then prune, you get to draw an extra card from the top of the deck into your hand. So it's really simple. It's a great theme, and I am thrilled to death it is available again, so you should check it out. Next, we have Once Upon a Castle, which is your opportunity to embrace art. In this game, you are drawing a castle and trying to earn the most points. And they have 2 different sides to the little sheet where you're drawing the castle, and they have a stenciled out version where you just draw in the lines to put together your castle, which is what I did when I played. And then there's also a free draw side where you just get to create the castle of your dreams. And that's what my 10-year-old son used. And he was just so excited about it. And that's why he wanted to play this game so much. And it worked so well. We played it on Christmas Eve. We'd had it for ages, and we finally got it out, and it was just a blast. All you're doing is you're rolling dice that allow you to collect resources, and then you use those resources to either build walls, towers, donjons, floors, which is where your guests stay, and that's where you get points. You have flags you can draw, and you get points for the people that are coming into your castle. So there's a bit going on, but it's all really manageable. The reason it took us a little while to play this game was because the rules as written were a little bit tricky, but then the actual gameplay, once we got it out and sorted it out, the actual gameplay is quite simple and very fun. And I also like, there are 2 levels of play. So you can play like the novice level, and that's just the basics of the game. You get it all sorted out. But then if you want to play advanced, then you have different cards that you use for the people, and then they give you special abilities that allow you to do a lot and have a lot more creative choice in how you're going about your strategy of building the castle and getting the most points. But this is great. It made me feel kind of artsy putting together the castle. We used colored pencils, so mine at least looked pretty. And my son created this wonderful creation that he was so proud of. So these are the games I love where you can adapt it to your audience. Everyone can be successful. And it was just so sweet and so fun. And finally, we have Tokaido. Resolution, travel more. This is not a 20-minute game. This game, I think it says 45 minutes on the box, which is maybe is pretty accurate. But it's such a great game, and I'm putting it on this list because I think it is very family level and it is very accessible, but it is so fun and interesting. I played it yesterday at a board game cafe with my 9-year-old daughter, and we had such a great time playing it together. The goal of the game is you have your traveler who is going from Kyoto to Edo, and this is a traditional path people would take from Kyoto to Edo is now modern day Tokyo. And you're trying to get the most points on your journey, and you're going to places like inns and getting, you need to have different meals each time, and then you get points for that. You're going to farms, that's how you get more money, so you can buy things, because at villages, you are purchasing souvenirs. You get points for having the different combinations and variety of souvenirs. You go to panorama spots and collect photo cards to make a panorama scene. There's hot springs, temples where you donate money and you get points for that at the end of the game. You have encounters with people that there's a variety of things that they do. They can either give you points, or you can get money, or you can get different items that you want. So there's lots of interesting things to do along the way. And people talk about this as being just a really calm, peaceful, pleasant game, and they haven't played with me because I make this game, my mission is to block the other person from any of the spots that they want to go to. Each traveler has a special ability. My daughter's traveler, on encounter spots, she got to pick 2 cards, and she could pick between them, and then, so whichever one was better for her, she would keep. So I made it my mission to make it so she wouldn't get on any of the encounter spots if I could help it, because that would help her with her ability. She still beat me. So it worked out, which makes me very happy. I love it when my children do well at games and when they beat me. It's just so much fun. So Tokaido, there's a lot going on, but it's all really manageable, but it's interesting. You have good player interactions, and it is a way to experience the joys of travel from the comfort of your own home. So that's it for my top 10 New Year's resolutions games. Wish me luck with that puppy. And honestly, if you just resolve to play more board games, you are set, because then you are honestly going to have such a fantastic year. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time from Game Like a Mother.